the way the world is set, even the way we go around doing things, thinking we know what we are doing, that was set by the Spirit that brought us into this world.
Yeah.
It's not any man that stood up on his own and said, I have come and seen myself in this world, I will start to do things my way. The way we are living, this I know it, that we are living in the world today, that is how we were programmed to go.
The spiritual significance of what matter really is. Matter is that spirit of masterhood. Is that spirit of masterhood. And that is the spirit that is functioning in us as men.
The only way a man would know that what he has been involved with has laid a hold on him, or whether he has laid a hold of that thing, is when the master shows up to tell him or to let him know that this thing, you have to do away with it.
Yeah.
That's when you get to know if all that while he was doing what he was doing, he had developed the matter spirit or the matter attitude in him.
Yeah.
You won't get to know that until God appears and he puts you to the test.
The things that has to do with the spirit must be revealed, and you cannot reveal it if you are not the spiritual one. But the thing is that today we have a lot of men who claim that they are spiritual, and it has become a problem in our world. You claim that you are spiritual, but the solution that the world is seeking for, that's supposed to come from the spirit that generated them, you can't bring it. And according to the standard of what we have seen, that none is spiritual except one. That is why I said, he that is spiritual judgeth all things, but he himself is judge of no man. It means you cannot have two spiritual person in a generation at the same time. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another moment of this program, a New Direction podcast. In this program, like we keep telling you, that we bring to you issues that has to do with God, issues that has to do with life, issues that has to do with a new way that humanity must go, if things must work according to the purpose of life in which we were born for. So today, we bring to you another interesting topic for discussion. And that topic is about the name Martha and Mary. We are going to be discussing on the significance of those names, how they are applied to us. Because all we desire for in the part of God is how to stay safe with God. So joining me today in these discussions are my brethren as usual. I have Brother David.
Good morning, everyone.
I have Sister Adugo.
Good morning.
Here I have Brother Savior.
Good morning, everyone.
And Brother Uche.
Good morning, all.
My name is Brother Kufre. It is said that everything that we were given to do as man was given to do in waiting for the appearance of God.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we have come to learn. Yes. That everything that we all as humans were given to know how to do in this world, we were given for survival. Let me use that word. We were given for survival until the arrival of God. Because the survivor is not that we can have eternal life with what we do. So everything that is given is for that survivor. And if you look at the way we live today in our world, with the things that we were given to do, many of us we have become so familiar with the things we do in a way that we become masters. We master them. And having mastered those things is very hard for some of us to leave them. But the question we keep asking is that if you know what to do and you master the things you know how to do, you don't need anybody again to show you what to do in the world. But because what we know to do cannot bring that eternal life, cannot turn us to that eternal life, that's why we keep crying for God. Because we see limitation in the things we do. Yes. We keep crying for God to come and help us. Mm-hmm. And I believe that is the reason of this podcast. Because this podcast is now bringing that cry, the answer to that cry that we always cry for God to come and help us, to let our world to understand that God that we cry for cannot just come and help us the way we assume God to be, but rather the way the Spirit has planned that is going to help us with. That is to bring someone who will carry that Spirit of God so that he can guide humanity on what to do. So Martha is that office, that character that was given to us to be able to know how to do things and do things our own way. That is the man's way. That is not God's way. So our way has been that man's way, as we keep talking about in this program, how we can change from man's way
to God's way.
To God's way.
So the meaning of Martha, simply put, is master. Because as I'm listening to you, I want to, one of the significance of matter, the spiritual significance of what matter really is. Matter is that spirit of masterhood. Is that spirit of masterhood. And that is the spirit that is functioning in us as men. That is the first spirit that the Lord who brought man impute in man, to be the master of himself, to believe that he knows what he is doing. There is no man on the face of the earth that does not believe to know what he is doing, but does not know what is doing him. As a master, that is the spirit functioning. So that is the meaning of matter. Master. And there is a direct instruction in Matthew, because we are going to move from Martha to Mary.
Yeah.
But we are looking at Martha now because that is the present situation of humanity today.
Yeah.
We know what we are doing. We are skillful to invent, to bring about innovation, to bring about a lot of wisdom. We have come to know a lot of things. Our world is going down, but we still believe that we know how to fix it. At the same time, we are still crying for help. That is the confusion of that spirit, masterhood. He is fed up. It is time for him to give up, but he still believes he can handle situations.
Yeah, he can figure things out.
He can solve problems.
That is the way we men believe we have the strength. That's why I remember the last time we talked about power.
Yes.
We try to let everyone understand that power is not the ability that you have on your own to do things. Power is God himself. And when that power arrives, he even asks you to drop what you know to do so that I can show you how to do it. So it is when you are now applying things the way he asks you to apply, that shows that the power was already released to you. So power is that God. So if you look at that, you can see the limitation we have, and we do not have that power. But the point I want everyone listening first to understand is that when all the part that we were given to as human, like I said from the beginning, is to know how to do things our way. And that our way is what is known as the way of man, not the way of God.
Yes.
That everyone needs to understand. So whatever thing we know how to do today, whether we know how to have a denomination where we call church, whether we know how to become a pastor, prophet, evangelist, whatever thing, because you cannot talk about a man who knows how to invent things as aeroplane, and you don't bring a man who knows how to invent things as gospel. Because that is also our man invention.
Yes.
Do you understand? So somebody don't think that we are stereotyping this very topic to people that know how to invent microphones. No. Everything that humans were given to do in the absence of God fall under that office of matter. That is why that point I'm trying to drive is that anybody watching us need to understand that whatever thing you were given to know how to do. First, the ways of man is not of himself. So the knowledge that we have, the capacity that we have to do things is given by a spirit. And that spirit believes that whatever thing that you know to do, don't allow that thing to overwhelm you. That is to make you think that you know how to do it well, which is what you are trying to explain, becoming a master of yourself. So that whatever thing you know how to do, when God comes and tells you this thing is wrong, you agree to correct it. Because that is the situation today that we are facing. We think that we can invent things. We think that we have power to know how to do things. But we keep seeing how we keep failing every day.
Limitations.
But we don't know also where to hand over to, who will have the superpower. That's why God is the Almighty.
Following what you have said, earlier you said that every man is given something to do
Yeah.
in weights for the appearance of God.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we as men don't know that that whatever we are doing is subject to change when God arrives.
Yeah.
So that is something we don't know about. So, but as you said, every man is given something to do in wait for God, and we are now trying to understand where the office of Martha and Mary comes in, how it functions, and making reference to the book, you can get to see that Martha and Mary, or the picture or the story of, or the account rather, let me use account, the account of Martha and Mary didn't show up until Christ appeared.
Yeah.
The master appeared. So from what you're saying, that every man has been given something to do, which is how it is, you now get to see that as Martha and Mary being spiritual significance, as you said earlier, that functions in a person. It's not two separate people.
Yeah.
But as names, as you say, they have their function. So as I am now, I can function as Martha and I can function as Mary.
At the same.
Depending, not at the same time, but depending on how I receive the work of God.
Yeah.
So when you have established now that every man was given something to do, you now get to realize that the only way the influence of Martha can show up in a person is when God arrives.
Yeah.
Because because following what you have said earlier, the only way a man would know that what he has been involved with has laid a hold on him, or whether he has laid a hold of that thing, is when the master shows up to tell him or to let him know that this thing, you have to do away with it.
Yeah.
That's when you get to know if all that while he was doing what he was doing, he had developed the matter spirit,
yeah.
or the matter attitude in him.
Yeah.
You won't get to know that until God appears and he puts you to the test, before you get to realize that no, you have become so full of what you know to do, that you can't give in to the things of God. Yeah. Then the way you get to realize that you have the Mary kind of attitude is when, irrespective of what you have found yourself to do, no matter how glamorous or gainful it is, and the person of God appears and he subjects you to his work that lets you see that you have to do away with that, whether you embrace it and do away with what you have gained as man. Yeah. That's what shows that irrespective of how long you lived in the system of man, you developed the attitude of Mary.
So that is to say that every man on the face of the earth is given that spirit of, I know how to do something. But it only graduates to masterhood once God is involved. That is when
God puts you to the test.
Yes, that's when God is involved. That's when the distinction between the Mary spirit and the Martha spirit comes into play. Yeah, that is to say, at the way the way the world is set, even the way we go around doing things, thinking we know what we are doing, that was set by the spirit that brought us into this world. Yeah. It's not any man that stood up on his own and said, I have come and seen myself in this, so I will start to do things my way. The way we are living, this I know it, that we are living in the world today, that is how we were programmed to go. So at this point, it cannot be held against somebody as this person is a master of himself, is a matter. Yeah. The only way that it will be held against you is once God is involved.
To show you the way.
That is when you will know where you fall. Yeah. Whether you fall with the wheat or you fall with the chaff. So you see, it shows that the fulfillment of everything that has to do with life and how eternity, how we are supposed to live eternally, it all starts and begins with God on ground. Yeah. And without that root established, without that foundation, we will keep on going in our circle and recycle of man nature.
You see, today we are trying to understand the office of Martha and Mary.
Yes.
But whenever we make references to the Bible as man, we don't see the spiritual significance of the things that have been written in there.
Yeah.
We see it as past events, be it religious events or whatever, but we see it as past events.
Yeah.
So when we read it and we see accounts like what we are dealing with now, the account of Martha and Mary, we see two individuals. Yeah, we see two individuals who at some point behaved differently. So it now looks like, okay, we have to learn how to behave like so person, and we have to learn how to behave like so person. It's not as if Mary wasn't doing anything before the master arrived.
Exactly.
But it was the arrival of the master that let her know what was important.
Yes.
And what we need to understand is that the Bible, as a spiritual book, wasn't written for man.
Yes.
Let me not say was, isn't written for man. It's not written about man. As when I mean about man, I'm talking about men. It's not written about men. It's not written for men. Rather, it's written about God and for God. But nevertheless, what is written in the Bible depicts the character of men.
Yes.
Or rather, the character of man in men.
Yes.
Like we are talking of Mary and Martha now. These are characters of man that would showcase itself
When
in men.
you said the Bible was not written of man.
For man.
I would like you to put that clear, because somebody that is listening need to understand what you are talking about.
Okay.
You said that the Bible was not written for man.
Yes.
Somebody will ask, but you are using the Bible.
Yeah.
But I think I understand what you are saying. Or what you are saying is that whatever thing that we are reading today or we are carrying is a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
So it's not something that any man can understand.
Yes.
Any carnal man can understand. So it's not written about man, or it's not written for man.
Yeah.
It's that it's not meant for a carnal man to carry it and think that he can read it and apply it.
Yes.
But he's talking about the life of God, that God need to come in and make us live that life. Because the life is not in the letter.
Yes.
The life is someone that will carry it, that will live it before he can now pass it on to people by guiding them.
Yeah.
So I just want to comment from what you are saying,
Yeah.
that point, so that somebody can understand if that is what you mean.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I mean.
basically
Because when you
it.
say that the Bible is not written about man and it's not written for man, it's clear because we say here, and I think you even reiterated it as you were talking. You said we are reaching you from the storehouse, from a source. And we have said earlier that these aren't things we
came up with
we
on
sat
our
down by ourselves and we thought of it. I was conversing with an old friend of mine, as an old friend, because now we don't see eye to eye again. So I was conversing with an old friend and we spoke at length. And as I was about to leave, he said something. He said, "Dave, I've known you for a long time. And I know that you cannot come up with something like this. That it sound, even as it's coming from me, but he knows that I cannot come up with
this.
something like this.
Yeah.
So who am I listening to? Which book am I reading? Because as men, that's what we always
go to get our
think.
motivation
And
from.
that we are always seeking motivation or inspiration from wherever. But as you said, we are reaching people from the storehouse. And we have also said that the storehouse is not a religious group. It's not a religious organization, but it's the person of God. That's me putting it
that the first storehouse is just about a body that the spirit
dwells
in a generation.
That's trying to be as plain as possible.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about the world coming to be with God, and we are talking about the world being the spirit and God being the body, and the world became flesh, that shows you that God who is a spirit would eventually get to be a body that we all
need to listen to.
will need to listen to.
Okay.
So that is who the storehouse represents.
You know, the last time we were working on who a neighbor is,
Yes.
and I remember we tried to discuss on something from that Luke 10,
Okay.
when a lawyer came up with a tempting question when he was asking Christ, according to the writing, who is my neighbor? And he went on to put a parable of a certain man that was taking a journey from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
So anybody watching us, if you have not come across that, who a neighbor is, I would like everyone listening to go into our page and listen to that and watch that. But what I'm trying to say here is that I remember we pick up that discussion from that Luke chapter 10, from 25 down to 37, where he got to a point after analyzing the whole thing and asked them, who do you think is the neighbor to the man that fell among thieves? And an answer was put out from the people, according to the illustration, not from the Jesus Christ himself.
Yes.
And the person said that the neighbor was the one that showed mercy to the one that fell among thieves.
Yeah.
And from everything we were discussing, you can see that it still shows that person who still know how to do things his own way, not allowing the master to let him or her to understand who a neighbor should be.
That is
the perfect picture. That is the perfect picture of who a matter person is. Because you get to see that. Please don't forget, but it shows you something that the master was on ground, and the man knowing, according to the account, the man knowing what he had, that's the man knowing something and knowing to do as he knew how to do, was doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
But he could see certain kinds of limitations. So he came to the master to find out something from the master. The emphasis, the master was on ground.
Yeah.
But as you read, you see that he was trying to justify himself, or he was trying, it was, as you said earlier, it was a tempting question. He didn't come to the master because he wanted to really know the master's way. He already knew what he knew and he was satisfied with it. So he wanted to tempt the master to see what the master would say about it.
Yeah.
So that just shows you the clear picture of how a matter kind of influence is established in a person.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't do away with what he had known, and he tried to tempt the master to keep what he already knew before the appearance of.
Yeah, that's why I brought that in, because these stories, there are stories, as one will call it in the Bible. You know, when you talk about stories, it's like a life that people live some time ago. And so today now we can now be talking about it. But like we keep saying that these things are significant on how this thing can apply to each of us. Yeah. And that is where God comes in, because when God comes in, he removes that part that can lead us to destruction without knowing. So you see that the matter attitude there shows the person who know what to do already before you come for tempting. And at the end part of it, the master himself, who knows the heart of man, still let us to understand that the man there who think that he knows who his neighbor is the one who went on to want to do what he knows to do. So the person could say, my neighbor is the one that fall among thieves and I help him. So that is your own explanation of who a neighbor is, because you still want to hold on to what you think you know.
You know, as we men, it was given to us to try to figure out things and to do it the way we feel like it's right. You understand? And without us knowing that the way we go about doing things might not be, I use the word, might not be in line with the ways of God. And we keep doing it thinking that we are doing it according to the ways of God. Yeah. But when God shows up, it's not left for us to understand that the way we have been going is not his ways. Because he will show us that it's not left for us to understand that we need to abandon our ways and follow his own ways.
That is why we have this moment. What I'm trying to bring in now is for somebody to understand. That's why I said anybody that have not watched who a neighbor is should go and watch it, so that I can understand what next we are bringing in to connect this, so that somebody don't think that it's something that we derive from ourselves. The things that has to do with the spirit must be revealed. And you cannot reveal it if you are not the spiritual one. But the thing is that today, we have a lot of men who claim that they are spiritual. And it has become a problem in our world. You claim that you are spiritual, but the solution that the world is seeking for, that's supposed to come from the spirit that generated them. You can't bring it. And I have said before, according to the standard of what we have seen, that none is spiritual except one. That is why I said, he that is spiritual judgeth all things, and he himself is judge of no man.
man.
It means you cannot have two spiritual persons in a generation at the same time. Because that is how the God we cry for will reach our world, will reach men. It's coming from one source, but he knows that that spirit is not going to stay with one forever. But it's coming with one to establish the Godhead, where he will now duplicate himself to give us those similitude of that, which is where we talked about the image of God. The image of God. It means somebody will come out with that character. And he even said it in Romans 8:29, when he talks about for whom he did foreknow. If you read it through, you see that is what he's talking about, because one will foreknow first to predestine to conform to that character of the Son that we see in the Bible. And the Son is not a child. It's God himself in a generation.
You can't even have the Son without the Father.
No, what I'm saying is that when you talk about the Son of God that as is painted in the Bible, it's not a son as a female will give birth to a child. He's talking about God. That's why it's called the begotten. It's how God as a spirit reached humanity in a body. That is what it is. But what I'm bringing in is that somebody need to understand how this thing connects so that we can understand how to have help. You know how to do things, yes. You don't have God yet to define to you how to do things, yet. There's no problem with that. But right now, there is God on ground. So everyone needs to understand how things are divinely given to do. Because if you do not come to this person, nothing can work. Or even if you don't come to this person by moving, that's why we talked about how to stay safe first. First, you can understand what the program, what is the standard that is set, so that I can know how to apply it wherever I am and connect to the source, if that can be. But we have said that you cannot do that if you do not also connect to it by finding out what to do. That moment you see that by the time you find out what to do, whether it's on phone talk, whether it's on internet communication, you see that you get to know that you can't even stay there and know everything, but rather move into that place and hear from him. So right now we are talking about Martha and Mary attitude. We are going to read something from that Luke 10, because that is the last part of it. After the person that was trying to justify himself, which is the way we humans live today. So let's read something from Luke chapter 10, from 38. Let's read from 38 to 42.
Okay, Luke 10, 38 to 42.
Okay.
And I read, now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet.
Hold it. Well, this thing we are reading now, you see that you see two persons. Like you said from the beginning, you see two sisters, according to the writing. But this, from what we have established before, somebody need to understand that these are characters that can apply to one person. And when you understand how this thing applies, you don't even need to bother that there was one Jesus. Because it got me shocked when I met this person that time. And he was talking to me when I was talking about one Abraham. And he was talking to me about Abraham. All the significance of this name that we do not know. And he went on to show me something in Galatians 4 that talks about the two sons of Abraham. I was shocked. And he said, the two sons of Abraham are this. And he said one was the one from Mount Sinai, which is the one that led to bondage. And one was the one from a freeborn. When you read that, he said, these things are allegory. Allegory.
They are the significance
that
of two
is a significance of something.
Two covenants.
Then when you have two sons as the significance of two covenants, who then is the father? Do you see that? That is why when you want to apply the things of God humanly, you can never have a headway. You can't. He show you that right now, all we need is the person, that is God as a person. Let me not use the word the personality of God. We need God as a person to be able to help us. So here you can see that. First, he said, now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village. And a certain woman, when you hear the word certain, he's talking about That is how
Already programmed.
the things are programmed. That is how people are.
It's a certainty.
So this person that received him still need a work to transform from that state to another state. That's why when you receive God as a person, you see that you were doing something your own way. And once you receive God, it's going to start instructing you that come to a point you will now realize that you don't need to do things your way again. That's why first is the tithe as the heart, to be able to prepare you, to cleanse you, to give you an understanding, to prove you that when you know that this is God, you can see where offering now comes in. I can also say the part of Mary is offering. That is why it is from that point that he can give birth to a child. You know, the significance of Mary is what gives birth to a new life. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you are living an old life and you are doing your own thing, you can never give birth to a new life. So it is when you submit and stay under that is instruction that you can give birth to a new life.
Yeah. And the birth of the life is in you.
Yes.
Like, make it no concern like say person just start not to born life.
So go on.
Okay. 39. And
No,
she
finish 38. He said you are reading 30. You are
I mean
reading
39.
Okay, and Satan
and she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word.
Okay.
But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her.
Wait, if you have someone called Jesus, I want somebody to ask to just show me what wrong has this person done. If you have somebody that is called Jesus Christ and is coming from, that state of God to a household, and this household now, you see that there is one who, the first thing that you're supposed to do is how to make sure you give him something to eat. Make sure you give him that comfort that he needs. Let it be okay, so that whatever thing is going to tell you, maybe you can make meaning. It's there like you don't receive the person. There's nothing wrong with that, humanly. But because that is not what he's talking about, to show you what we are discussing here, it's not what he's talking about. So what is wrong? To go and tell somebody that there is a lot to do, because I'm trying to prepare something for you. He's not preparing the thing for another person now. He's preparing the thing because the master has come. So telling the sister to come and join her shouldn't be a bad thing. I don't know why you are following it. It shouldn't be a bad thing.
Like humanly.
Humanly. But because there is something the Spirit is trying to show us here, that no matter what you know to do, you need to understand that everything you were given to do is just for the time that I've not been there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I arrive, you need to give a way to listen to what I need to show you on how to do it.
So what I said in 42 now, but one thing is needful. Say you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful, and Mary had chosen that good part. When you now read backwards, you now get to see that she was at the master's feet to hear what the master was saying, his words, while she was busy running around. Is it so? That's what
that running
is required
around
of
is
us.
scared. That's why today is scared that when we talked about the good you do that serve nobody good. That's why he said that are careful and trouble at the same time. You try to give care to a people, to a thing, try to take care of something. That's why it shouldn't be a bad thing. But what makes it bad is that the care you get given is not you that's supposed to be giving those care. That's what it is.
As you said this, something struck me. Who is supposed to care for the people? When we are hungry spiritually, who should know? It's God himself.
Yeah.
So she was busy thinking that she can take care.
When you use the word she now, is she painting that picture of one female?
One female,
Martha was busy thinking she can care for the people. while the master was on ground. The master is the one to care. A picture flashed when you finish saying that, and that is the picture of feeding the 5,000. That's illustration of feeding the 5,000. The people were hungry, and the picture painted states that Christ said, give them something to eat. He told the disciples, give them something to eat. He said, how are we going to get food to feed these 5,000? And then he said, what do they have? It was from what the people have that he used to feed the people, and there were leftovers, more than 12 basket leftovers. So you see now that the master is the one to care.
Even following the picture first, they were listening to him. He was talking to them before the food part even came.
Yes.
He didn't give them food first, then he started talking to them. He was talking to them, they were listening. Then, down the line, that's when food, whatever the talk of food was now introduced.
And if you
but in this case now, he was talking. Let's follow the picture.
Yeah.
He was talking. And there is Mary now sitting at the feet listening. Then there is someone there's
trying to bring this
the next person who is Martha, who is supposed to sit as well and listen.
Yes.
He was busy trying to arrange food. The picture is not painted about food, but it's just a very logical thing you can just use, and very, very understandable. He was busy trying to look for how to organize food. And maybe if you look left and right, there were a lot of people there too, other than Mary and the master. So it was like, come, if only me go about trying to arrange food for all these people, my hand go. So Mary, leave that place you are sitting down and come and assist me. So I'm trying to say that the sequence was started. Instead of listening to the master, and just as Brother Savior says, it's the master that knows what is required of him to do for you, and he gets to do it for you.
And you really see it in that instance that you brought about the 5,000. You see, in the 5,000, it shows the right sequence, how it is the master that take cares of the people. Yeah. And then you see the real benefit and purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you look at that picture, based on what you just painted now about the Mary and the Martha, you see that the people that were there listening to the Jesus, none of them was fretting about food. There are 5,000 there, but nobody was moving up and down looking for what to eat. You understand?
Okay.
It is this.
Based on this picture, because I don't want us to go far. This picture is clear for somebody. I don't want this moment to be that long. It's like you have.
Yeah, I wanted to say something like when Brother David was saying something just came to me. You know, when he says Martha was busy running around, while Mary, as a personality, busy listening to the master. You know, when God arrived, first of all, he will ask us to come and listen for us to know what to do. Yeah. Exactly. Do you understand? And why you are listening to him, you will get to understand that things will be happening around you. Like a lot of things will be going on, which you feel like, I need to go and take care of all these things. But the master will tell you, wait first. Leave those things. They don't matter. What matters is what I need to let you know, what I need to say to you, so that you will know what next to do. Leave those things. They don't matter.
Yes.
Do
you understand?
They don't matter. That's why you can see instances. You can see instances like when he met the supposed disciples, the two he asked to leave their fishing boat and everything,
yes,
and follow him. Or the one who wanted to go and bury the father. He said, "Let the dead bury their dead. Come and follow me." So it shows that
that's the principle.
That is the principle. When is the master, every other thing
doesn't matter.
Is to know what is required of you.
And we cannot, you know, when we put this in, the last one is that we cannot have a master on the sky.
Exactly.
This is the summary of everything. Whatever thing we need to know must come from the master. And whosoever that will be the master will be the person carrying that spirit that we keep talking about. So the major reason of this podcast is for somebody to understand that spirit that we all desire for, that we all weep for, is on ground. That is why when he said in Isaiah 31, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and have not asked of my mouth. That is because Egypt is the world.
Yeah.
So for a man to be able to see into the we call it the crooked path, the serpentitious life that the Spirit already created on man. Because we are living a life today that we don't know that the life is complicated.
Very complex.
It's
life.
not because the fault is from all of us. It's because the fault is from the Spirit that bring all of us. That's why one of these moments we are going to talk about that Spirit of the Lord, who a deceiver really is. You understand? We are going to talk about that. Maybe that will even be the next moment, because what we need to understand that everything we are going through today is a program of the Spirit. So whatever thing that is happening with anybody out there, the Spirit knows about it. And the only way that the thing that is troubling humanity is a wind. It's coming from a spirit. So someone need to understand that right now there is no amount of prayer that you do and somersault from upstairs to downstairs that things can work. The purpose of what the Spirit intend to work.
If you don't break your leg first.
So it makes it easy for us if we have that person that can speak and things will just calm down.
Yes.
I'm not taking us back, but there's something Brother David said about the Bible not being written for men.
No, me talking, I saw it be.
So he made that remark that the
Yes.
Bible is not
Yes, we
written
get what you're
for
saying.
men. When the rich man came to the master to ask what to do to have eternal life, did the master read book to him?
It's
There
the
was
man that said he already read all the books.
There was something that happened there. I'm saying it because of what this podcast represents.
Yeah.
The master gave an instruction. He did not read book. When you look at the people that came to Christ to get direction on what to do to have life, because he's about life, he did not read any book. He gave them instruction.
Yeah.
Because it is the instruction from the master of life that can lead you to life.
Yeah.
So we are talking about Martha and Mary. Before we round up, this is very important. The reason why this came up is to let our world know that we as men, we don't know anything when it comes to the things of the Spirit of God. We have to come. That is the preparation first. That is even why this talk came out. Wherever you are all over the world, know that when it has to do with the things of the Spirit of God, we do not know anything.
Yeah.
You cannot be. We have been worshiping God before now. We thought it was God. But when we come in contact with the person of God, we now discover that, what we have been doing in the name of worship was not worship. Because we were all deceived by the Lord who brought us, just to keep us waiting, believing we know what to do. So wherever you are, all over the world, know that the things of the Spirit of God knoweth no man. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. The things of a man is what a man knows. So the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. So it is the person of God that will reveal his ways to us.
We have said that from what you are saying now. I need to add this from what you are saying so that we shorten the time a bit. You know, when you said the things of God knoweth no man, somebody will ask, you that are sitting down there, are you not men? Because we are talking about the things of God today. Remember, we talked about the concept of God and the idea of men. So, for somebody not to get us wrong, everything we are using also the Bible. You understand? I'm trying to tie something there for somebody to understand what you are saying. We are using Bible here, but what we are talking about here is not the Bible. It's about the things that we have been reading in the Bible for years, and one don't know how they're supposed to apply to us. Every time you just read them, you see one event that has taken place some time ago with one Jesus. And we have come to see that those things doesn't exist. What existed right now is what the Spirit needs to come and reveal to humanity. And where is this Spirit going to reveal this thing from? So we that are sitting down here, we are not talking about the things of the Spirit like we know them. We are talking about the things of the Spirit as the person of the Spirit has come to reveal them to us now, to come to know that we are all being wrong. All of us. So somebody don't think that we are not trying to analyze the things of the Spirit our way. No. We are talking about the life that we ought to live, which is now revealed in this person, that's from this person. So anything we analyze here is that life that we do not have. We also that are here, we are also trying to work on ourselves to make sure we conform to this character that we are talking about today. That is our work. That's why the limitation that we keep having, we are still having, is the moment that we try to see how we can, join together and try to bring a point from this thing that we are talking for somebody out there, so that somebody will understand that there is a move of God going on. And that move is from here, right here. This is a move of God. This is not one denomination anywhere. So everyone needs to understand that when we are talking about the things of the Spirit, knowing no man, is that someone that is the spiritual one must come out to reveal that the way of that Spirit before anybody can know it. So we come to know it because that person is there. And we are not talking like one we know is coming from us. We are talking like the one we know is a revelation from that person. Somebody will think that I also have a pastor there. I also have a prophet there. No, we are not talking about having a pastor or having a prophet yet. If you have been having that, and you can see that the life today that we need in the world, so that things can become for everybody to have the equal share, because the ways of God is equal, but the ways of man can never be equal. We see inequality everywhere because we are not controlling from that one source of that Spirit. And right now, that's what we need. So anybody watching us should understand that. Because I wanted to bring something in this John 11. But I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to just paraphrase it, because if you understand the character of matter, as we keep talking here, that is a character that is a work. We call it an office. An office is a work, a state that was given to you.
Place of operation.
A place of operation, as you said. So anybody functioning in any field that is functioning in today should understand that that field is not approved yet by God. You can be doing something. The Spirit knows that this thing you are doing it, but it doesn't approve it as something that will gain you the life that is its own. That we need to understand, so that no matter what you are doing, you need to know that you need His life. And to need His life, you need to live what you are doing and find out from His own person how you need to walk, even with that which you know before. That's why the office of matter says, no matter what I was given to know how to do, and I've been doing it, and I know I have mastered it, I know that I'm familiar with it, and it has become a part of me, yes, that is matter. But the attitude of Mary now said, even when I know all these things to do, I need to get to the one who should guide me right now into a way that I need to know how to do, which is called a new way. A new way that will bring eternal life. So that everybody need to understand. So that whatever information somebody is getting out there should understand that the end part of this, our discussion, is how each person can make a move to where this personality is. So that John 11 shows a character of that matter again. One of these moments we were talking about resurrection, we brought that same character. When he was telling the master, if you were here, my brother had not died. But I know that now that you are here, whatever thing you need from your God, He will do it. Such a person, you don't supposed to bother, even when the person is there. Do you see that? If you know that when this person comes, everything that was spoiled will be repaired, you don't need to bother even when you see the person, as like you are regretting, if you were here, my brother had not died. You understand? Because that person that has come is coming to restore everything. So why do you bother? It shows the lack of belief. So if you understand that attitude of matter, you see it in that John 11, when he talks about, if you were here, my brother had not died. And And following that, you can see that if somebody that believes in the master, such a person shouldn't bother. It's just as the master appear, whatever thing that has transpired or has spoiled, he will repair it.
Yes.
But you see, worry, if you were here, my brother had not died. So it showed that lack of belief. But if you understand what that personality that always knows something, after you have said that, if you were here, my brother have not died, you shouldn't bother again. And he went on to say, your brother shall rise again. And again, according to the word you used before, she now said, I know that my brother will rise again at the resurrection at the last day. You know, that is where we have taken the resurrection to be the last day when a man dies, when he will come out from the grave. But the last day, that, as we keep saying, when we're talking about the spirit, those that will worship the God, will worship him in spirit and in truth. The last time we talked about, and now is. And that now means when once that personality appears, that is your last day. You understand? That is the last day. The last day has come for you to work on what you're supposed to work and get. So he said in the resurrection at the last day, your brother will rise again. And I know that my brother will rise again. He said, no, I am the resurrection and the life. So if there was a last day somewhere, I will not need to be putting all those things. But what my point is that if you understand that attitude of someone who always thinks that he knows what to do, you understand that what you need right now is to leave that thing that you know to the person who knows how spiritual things work to guide you.
Yes.
And that is what we need right now. That's what we need. So, like we have said before, anybody watching this program should understand that the major reason of this program is to send that good news out there. That the personality, that spirit that we cry for dwells in is among us. And that is the person that we need to find. And the only way to find that person, you can't see that person on the road and know him, is to join this movement that we keep talking about. That this is a move of God. So everyone needs to be a partaker of this move, wherever you are, and embrace the new life that will help you out there. So this is the end of the moment. If you have been following us, you have any question to ask, we have our email addresses on the screen. So send us a mail and we'll get back to you. Bye for now.